Hey everyone, it's Cassidy here at the Poets Corner with another author interview. And today I'm excited to be speaking with Jason Harrington, author of the epic horror fantasy trilogy, Destiny of the Void Triangle. How you doing today, Jason?
I am doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. Thanks for asking. So I'm going to start with a pretty basic question. Where are you from?
I'm from Roy, Utah.
Roy, Utah. Earlier you were saying it was snowing there?
Oh, yeah. It is definitely snowing pretty hard out there today.
So is there a lot of trees out there, a lot of nature?
Not as much, especially since this is kind of the city area, but
Okay.
oh man, it is snowed up.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So have you lived there your whole life?
Not in Roy, but mostly Utah. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So what first sparked your love for writing?
Um, Bit of a story on that one.
Okay.
So, at a very early age, my imagination has always been out of control. So, about I'd say third grade, maybe first grade, it's about Halloween-ish, and I'm kind of the outcast kid and all that. And I'm not. I wasn't the brightest kid in the bunch, I'll admit, but they're doing a little bit of a writing assignment, and I was just like, "Well, what do you want me to write about?" And they're like, "Oh, whatever you want." I'm like, "Wait a minute, anything? Yeah, just whatever." I'm like, "This concept of releasing my imagination onto the paper is intriguing me."
Yeah.
So from there, I have just unleashed it on paper every time my imagination had something.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. So for Halloween, did you write like a horror story?
It was kind of if for that story, it was kind of, mind you, it was from a 6-year-old, so there's that. But it was like about these three people that were fighting that were out camping, and they end up fighting against this evil that reawakened itself. So yeah.
Wow. Nice. That's sweet. So when you're not writing, what are you doing?
Um Definitely heavy on the geek side. So I love to game, love to watch horror movies, anime, hang out with my wife and son.
Oh,
Um, Occasionally practice martial arts where I can.
oh,
Or that's when I'm not working too, because work full time at auto leave as a production associate manufacturing airbags.
oh, nice. Okay, cool. Sweet. So you're a part-time writer. Oh my gosh, and you have
Yeah.
3 books out. That's crazy.
2020 offered some chances
Yeah.
to really kind of spill it out there as fast as I could. So once I got the first book out, I was like, with the idea sitting in my head for so many years, and then it finally coming out, and then book one happened. I'm like, I'm not stopping until I'm done.
Oh, that's great. So the ideas just kept flowing and flowing.
Hmm.
Wow. So I understand you just released the audiobook for your 3rd book in the Destiny of the Void Triangle
Yes.
series. So tell me
Chronomancer and
more.
Creation's End.
Yeah, so tell me about this world you've created and your inspiration behind the entire trilogy.
Pravos is a world that I'd say a lot of the inspiration for like the society and the magic system and everything comes from a lot of the reading I did for like and then like David Eddings, Terry Brooks, Robert Jordan. Of course, I loved Wheel of Time, but those were definitely heavy inspirations. I liked the way their magic had consequences and rules and
Okay.
limits. Now, granted, I my limits are way out there now, but I was kind of thinking of throwing down the gauntlets when I did it. With things like Robert Jordan and Terry Brooks, I liked the character differences and developments of them. I liked the mindsets they were using. Like you saw got a better look into them in the mind of them, how they were going and or what they were doing and how it was affecting them.
Okay, yeah.
So I kept that in mind when it came to the characters of the Destiny of the Void Triangle. And I like the fact that there were times when you saw lesser known characters that were involved. So you got an idea of how society itself, how the cities and normal people were reacting to all this happening around them.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I like the idea of not leaving the little person out just because they're the little person. Let people know how they take it too.
Yeah, so are your books written in 3rd perspective, like 3rd point?
Third person perspective. I like to have the idea of where their growth is going to go in the end. And one of the things I love doing is not focusing it all on the main character as much.
Mhm.
There are a plethora of other characters with different motivations that I've just enjoyed coming up with.
It's sweet. So, how long has it taken you in total to plan, write, and publish this entire series?
Um, it really depends because when I first started the storyline way back 20 years ago, I was a bit of a hothead, so it wasn't as deep as it could have been.
Okay.
So it started back 20 years ago, but it really took on its full definition. I would say about, see, so 2019 took me about a year. I was talking with a coworker about it. I would say about 5, 6-ish years in its fully manifested form.
Wow, that's so great. Well, having a full trilogy out is such an amazing accomplishment.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you should be so, so proud of yourself. That's
I
fantastic.
am, and I love it. I love seeing how people react when they actually read it. I'm like, yes, I've seen people just really get excited. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, oh, that's so rewarding.
Oh
Well,
yes.
tell me more about your writing process for your recent release, The Chronomancer and Creation's End.
Um. Well, like I said, with a lot of it being based more around the Clive Barker well, now it's there's also factoring the gruesome, darker aspects are more Clive Barker and Stephen King inspired.
Okay.
And as we've been going through the trilogy, you start with in Chronomancer in the Book of Worms. One reviewer put it best. He said it's kind of like Harry Potter written by Stephen King.
Okay.
So that's kind of the milder part, and it was just me kind of testing it out, seeing
Okay.
if I was right about people being as interested in the that kind of concept as I thought they might be, because I was.
Yeah.
So finding out, yeah, okay, there's people interested. I took it a step further. We've been going deeper and deeper into the dark as we've gone along.
Nice.
Finding Chronomancer and Creation's End, it hits the bottom of the dark.
Yeah, it's evolved full circle.
Yeah, and by the end of it, I can't really spoil much because there's twists involved that are just things that I do with the main character that everything comes full circle at that point, and I've gradually developed it over the entire trilogy. And
Yeah.
this doesn't just take place over like 1 or 2 years. This is his life as starting out when he's like 14, all the way to about the point when he's like about 27-ish.
Over the whole series.
Yeah, for that whole trilogy.
Okay, wow. Okay, cool.
So get a look at his evolution as a Chronomancer, and I'm really proud of this one because when most people when they hear the word Chronomancer, they're like, oh, good, another person going back in time to MacGuffin the stuffing out of everything they've ever done wrong. But no, I found ways to go around that. The more he trains and really studies it, you get to see more of the evolution of him as into a Chronomaster, and it kind of happens alongside his studying of the history of a clan that was dedicated to Chronomasters that had been disbanded 8,000 years before his time. So he's now the only one practicing it, and there's a lot more lore and history to get into in that. That's really fun that way. But I like going around the whole concept of the time travel bit and saying, nah, how about quickened movement? I mean, if a person could decrease the amount of time it takes to move a leg.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like your own spin on it and
Yeah, it's like finding as many ways as I can to creatively come up with other ideas about it. And I've got another one that I've been waiting for the second part of the series, because this is a two-parter series.
okay.
There's the Destiny of the Void Triangle, and then there's a second series which is going to be about 4 books long.
Sweet. Oh,
So,
that's so great. And it's all based in the same world.
yeah, well, ish, same planet, not the same planet so much because it goes after book 3, it gets crazy.
Okay. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, how would you summarize the Destiny of the Void Triangle series? If you do just like a quick summary.
Focuses on the main character Rylan, who's at the center of a demonic prophecy to end all creation. He's down a really dark path on that too. So it's like, and the twist it takes along the way. I mean, I can honestly say I put more tears into Creation's End than I have in anything I've ever written before. And there were times my wife actually had to give me a hug while I was just, because there were scenes that just made me I was like weeping like mad on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, you love these characters. You've been with them
I
since the
do.
beginning.
I do. These are characters I've enjoyed making,
Yeah.
and when things happen with them, I don't like to count their role as completely over. I don't do the whole resurrecting thing on a drop of a hat or anything like that. I don't believe in doing that because that really cheapens the impact of a character death.
It does.
But I
Yeah.
also don't like the idea of a character death being something that's flat and stale.
Yeah.
My idea is if you're gonna do something like a character death, you have to put yourself into it. You have to, if you're not feeling it, they won't either.
Wow, yeah, that's good. Oh, that's so good. Well, I can tell how passionate you are about your story and about your writing. And
Oh,
that's
love
when
it.
the writing is the best, when you have an author who is so passionate about it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed writing this. I've had this floating in my head. You see the scenes in your head all the way to the very end of the series, and you're just, it's like being sitting in a movie theater. You see this, you have, and but you're the only person there, so you see these things happening. You're like, this is the coolest movie ever, but I'm the only one watching it. That's got to change.
Yeah. Oh, that's a perfect way to describe it. I love it. Sweet. Well, so I understand you also have a growing TikTok account where you post story blurbs, character art, and all about the Destiny of the Void Triangle series. So tell
Yes,
me more about that.
character art is done by Ankur Juneja. He's I met him on Fiverr, but we've kind of formed a artist to author relationship along the way. He's got a pretty packed schedule because he's also a heavy time student and worker out in New Delhi, so he's a hard working guy.
Yeah.
But I've loved his artwork. I loved how he sees where my head's going with things, and he's just all about it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love your character art that you have on TikTok and your
He does
illustrations.
a great job, doesn't he?
Everything, yeah, everything is so good. I love it.
Well, thank you, and I'm sure he appreciates that too.
I
We'll pass
bet.
this along to him and find out for sure.
Oh, good, sweet. Well, so what is your favorite part about being an author?
My favorite part is when I put all of my imagination out there and someone else gets it, and I get to hear back from them and just get to completely geek out about it. I
Oh,
love that.
oh my gosh, I bet. So you've heard great feedback from your books?
Yeah, yeah. Where people have actually given it a shot, I've heard great feedback, and so I'm like pushing it and trying to push it to get to as many more of the crowd I'm looking for as I can.
Yeah.
Because every time I've loved it. I mean, love this character. This villain, there's a villain that some of them are just a big fan of. My sister's a big fan of one of the overlapping main villains of the trilogy.
Nice.
I like it when I get to share in it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I bet it's so rewarding. And I bet, like, how did it feel when you finally finished writing the entire trilogy? And I know you still have more of the story to write, but this is like a huge chunk of it done.
I was excited because there is something in Creation's End that is a bit of a different twist than, I mean, there's only been a few people that have seen it coming, and I have left these. Don't get me wrong, subtlety is not my strongest point, but for some reason in my books it showed up
Wow.
and it's worked. I've left these subtle signposts along the way of where it's going, and for those who took an objective look, they saw it and they're like, "You're doing that, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yep." I was really excited because I'm like, I know I'm putting something totally different out there now. I've done the thing that's been done before. Now I'm
Yeah.
doing something completely different. I can't even put a relation concept to it. If Book of Worms, I could say best movie concept to be putting it with is like people have said, Harry Potter, if it was written by Stephen King. Second book, Chronomancer and Crimson Invasion was more like a combination of, I would say, Red Dawn and Order of the Phoenix.
Okay.
And third one, I have nothing. I'm like, I don't know where I would put this at.
What's up?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that means it's got to be epic.
I've been kind of, that's what I've been kind of hoping for, to see it, and come across as that way when it gets to readers. So it hasn't gotten to too many just yet, but for those it has, it's been like, whoa, that was different.
Sweet. Well, so what's in store for the future? Any new goals or writing related projects? Tell me more about it.
Okay, well, I'm doing a lot of short stories on my Facebook page to kind of flesh out some backstory where I figured I didn't want to drag my main books down, but I also didn't want to leave these stories untold. So I put short stories on my Facebook page so that people can actually take a look at those for free.
Oh, that is so cool.
In fact, I just posted one today that's about the childhood of one of the same overlapping villain I told you about.
Yeah.
Um, it's not meant to make you sympathetic towards her, so that's was one thing I kept in mind, because there are people out there at this point they're like, it's okay to do some villains sympathetic, but at the same time don't do them all that way.
Yeah, you
So
gotta
this one I
hate
was
the
like,
villain.
yeah. Just a little backstory on her. I'm doing a backstory on different kinds of concepts while I'm at it, and I have just started the first couple of chapters of the fourth book,
Sweet.
which I know that's technically it's the second part of the series. Aside from that, my imagination I don't think is ever going to stop. So there are
So you
things I
keep
dream
going,
about, things I
you're
just think about
writing,
at
writing.
random. Yeah. So I'm like, there, even when I'm done with this, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to deviate to anything else until the entire series is there. But after that, I know my imagination is going to be like, we can run and play someplace else now.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, get this story out. It's amazing that, oh my gosh, you're already so far into it. And congrats on starting the fourth book already, too. That's so exciting.
It actually took me a few months because I was trying to. I was kind of reeling from the emotional blows I gave myself while I was writing the third book. So I was like, ow. All right. But now I'm like, okay, that's been long enough. Back at it.
You've healed the heartbreak. Now you can
Yeah,
get it.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, why should someone read the Destiny of the Void Triangle books?
If you're looking for a throw down the gauntlets kind of fantasy that doesn't skimp out on the character growth and development and the personalities, and you're looking for all of that in a fantasy setting that's like I said, reminiscent of Belgaria out of Malorian by David Eddings or something along that line, this is a great series for that. And whatever you do, don't some chapters you do not want to have your dinner beforehand, because I am definitely Clive Barker inspired. If you're looking for a huge stakes fantasy where it doesn't limit itself to one city or one kingdom, it's all over the place. This is a good series for that. I've had kind of the focus towards D&D players and people I grew up in just geeking out with, because these are the people that they gave me a release when I was younger, so I'm like, something back.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's really meaningful. And it's like pieces of you too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's like,
great.
this is what you helped me grow.
Yeah. Well, sweet. That's fantastic. So, do you have any closing words? Because that's all the questions I have for today.
For those people with a story sitting in their head and you have meager means, go for it anyway. It's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be a fight, but nothing in life is ever easy. Nothing worthwhile in life is ever easy. So
Yeah. Oh,
fight for it.
yes. Well said. I love it. Well, sweet guys, you need to check out Destiny of the Void Triangle
If you
series.
want, I can show you the books right now. Put them up
Oh,
here.
yeah, show us.
All right. So that you know what you're looking for, we
Yes.
have Chronomancer and the Book of Worms.
Ooh, love it.
Then we have the Chronomancer and the Crimson Invasion.
Ooh, oh, that cover's beautiful.
He really does a great job with the art, I gotta say. I've not been disappointed with him yet.
Great.
And then Creation's End.
Woohoo! Sweet. Yes. And I will link all of those in the description below so you guys can check out all of Jason's books. And also, I'm going to put his Facebook page so you can check out the short stories for free. So awesome. And also
For
his
sure.
TikTok so you can follow along with the character art and blurbs. And yeah, follow you in your journey of publishing more books as well. Congrats, Jason. And I love
Thank you.
with you.
It was fun speaking with you as well.
Yeah, we'll have a great rest of your night, okay?
All right, thank you. You too.
Bye.
See you later.